facing them. It is now time for MNM versus Wind and Rain. My name's Dalsy, joined by Ox and Scoundrel. I keep going for Kiernan. I just love your face, and I just want to say your name over and over again.
Call me Kiernan, it's perfectly fine.
Kappa pride for this man.
I got told that my hair was really flat in the break by my good friend Jack, so I need to sort my hair to be less flat.
I mean, I've heard people say many things about your hair over our casting career, but what I want to talk about is your face, which...
If I can get in the middle of something here, you know.
Well, I had to shave.
Came running into my room.
Oh god.
And I had an electric shaver, and a lot of men will resonate with me out there. I was buzzing, I was getting the buzz down, and then it stopped, and I was like, oh, I better just press the on button again. Oh, poo! Like, and I was like, Dalsy, do you have a shaver? And he was like, no, but I've got a razor, and I hate clean shaving because I look like a baby. But it's the only option I had. Otherwise, I would look like that guy from GTA 5, Trevor.
And he did.
I would have looked a little bit like Trevor from GTA 5.
It was a pretty funny look. Came in crazy-eyed and everything.
Kind of upset that you didn't come on the stream with that.
Yeah, it didn't look appropriate.
Not appropriate for the Forger champions. I mean, let's talk about this next matchup, gentlemen. Wind and Rain versus MNM Gaming. Of course, we've talked about the upset that was MNM taking out XL. Was it XL underperforming? Was it that we just underestimated the MNM roster? Is it a sandwich of both that we put in our mouths and eat?
I mean, actually, to be honest, a flaming marshmallow.
A flaming marshmallow.
I can get down with that. S'mores or whatever they're called in America.
Yeah.
I think a s'mores sandwich would be alright, actually. I'll take that.
Yeah.
That's just it. Good analysis.
Yeah.
I think let's talk about the MNM roster. It's Igloo, it's Hades, it's Shockwave, Jokerism, and Shogun. I mean, they've got a secret pick in the mid lane. Wonder what it is.
Secret pick.
Shockwave.
I don't know if I know. I can't quite tell.
Can you guess it?
Interesting. I think there's a really interesting point about the MNM roster. Igloo used to get memed in the top lane. Like, everyone thought Igloo was bad for a very long time. But actually, he's turned out to be pretty damn good. See,
my perception of Igloo in this storyline is when he first came onto Enclave, he was actually a sub for Prelude, and he did really well. Like, I remember playing against him, and he would play stuff like Jarvan top, you know, more carry-based champions. And I remember one game he roams down mid from top lane for a fight, joins it, and just has a massive impact. And then when he went onto Diabolus, not this Diabolus, last roster's iteration, it felt like he was just put on tank duty consistently.
I think that's where he struggled.
Yeah, and I feel like the team didn't have confidence in him because they had so many stars on their roster, and it just looked like he underperformed constantly. And then it was like one game they put him on Camille, the game didn't go well because they were against a tough opponent, and I was like, right, you're back to tanks every game. And I feel like there's a bit more trust and faith in him on MNM, and although he did play Mundo, which is a tank, there's a lot more you can do with that. You can snowball harder, so... Well, you know, I think he has a chance to shine here on MNM.
I think the major limelight that Igloo had over the last few months was EU Masters, and Diabolus as a whole did not perform. They were definitely in the qualification stage for EU Masters, I'm certain.
No, they weren't.
Were they not?
No. It's awkward. No, because what happened, so last split in the Premiership,
for some reason I felt like they were.
XL, who came second, already had their spot. Wind and Rain, who came third, already had their spot.
Oh, it's Wind and Rain, right.
Yeah, and then Misfits took the first seed in the actual tournament, and then Enclave came in the play-in, so it was a big upset to Diabolus.
No, wait, Wind and Rain had the Nordic spot. Oh no, they did. I don't know.
The Challenger Series spot. Oh, you're not.
I swear Diabolus were there because I
no,
remember.
they win. They win.
I remember XL tweeting saying good luck to Diabolus in the EU. I need to go look this up now.
They must have said that as a like confident they're gonna make it, and then they didn't.
I need to go look this up now. This is gonna annoy me.
No, I remember that because they.
I'm trying to find the bit in the handbook that says, "What do I do when my co-caster sucks?"
The four UK teams who went were Misfits, XL, Wind and Rain, and Enclave. Diabolus didn't go, which was a big upset.
Enclave. Maybe it was
Enclave.
It
was a big upset,
okay,
and Igloo was part of that roster. And we're talking about his redemption story, and you.
Maybe you're right. Yeah, you might be right.
Whatever, it's cool. We'll move on. Move swiftly on.
I'm new
to
here.
Wind and Rain. Wind and Rain. I mean, it's Kerberos, the split pushing god. It's.
Are you sure Diabolus wasn't in the EU? I'm joking.
Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
How to trigger orcs and also be wrong by Scoundrel.
That's cool. We're just testing the audience, just ensuring they know the stats exactly. That was
and
a good
I was
opportunity.
there. I was actually there, so I should have known that. But it's been a long time. I'm an old man, and my memory fades.
Yeah. We'll get you a walking stick so you can get off
thanks, bud.
stage.
Thanks.
Oh dear. Okay, so Wind and Rain, they've got Cobros, they have Nulti, they have Crossman in the mid lane, Fax is back in the AD carry position, and Akasuni in the support role. I mean, this is pretty simple. I see Fax, he's back, he wants to prove himself in the AD carry role. Who do you have to prove yourself in the UK scene against? Jokerism. He's the gatekeeper of AD carry.
He is the benchmark for UK AD carries. If you're better than Jokerism, you'll survive. If you're worse than Jokerism, you won't.
I think for me, it's an opportunity for a new sort of UK AD carry to step up, because obviously with teams with Misfits and Enclave and Diabolus, they all have import AD carries. But we have actually had such a good run of strong AD carries coming from the UK. We've had Toaster, who plays for Gamers Origin now. We've had Deadly, who's on Giants in the Spanish scene, and we have Inax, who's gone to HWA in Turkey. And so really strong players who have all left the scene, and I feel like there's a bit of a void, not in terms of AD carry talent, because obviously there's imports, but in regards to the strongest UK AD carry in the scene, and this could well be the competition for it between Fax and Jokerism.
Joe is always solid. Like, that's one thing I'll always say about Joe, and I know you've played with him in lane as well. He is just always just a good AD carry. Very rarely messes up, you know.
Well, let's find out what happens. We're jumping into picks and bans for this second semi-final.
I know what I got confused with now. I was confusing EMAS as the ESL Premiership.
Yeah.
And I was casting Diabolus in the ESL Premiership, but they didn't have the best Premiership showing ever. So that's what I was getting confused about.
There you
go.
go.
We'll forgive you, okay?
Yep.
We'll move on swiftly. Forget it ever happened. Zoe, Camille, Talia, Vlad, all bans so far in this pick and ban stage.
Nothing too crazy, just a lot of power picks. Interesting to see the Oriana. MNM are the ones with Shockwave.
Did they forget?
They've just banned it. They've just
They
said
thought they were picking.
Maybe this is like saying, look, we don't have an Oriana one trick in the mid lane.
Why would we ban
ban it away
Oriana
anyway?
if we wanted Oriana? It's a counter pick.
Maybe Oriana constricts them to a certain style of composition, though. Maybe Oriana constricts their draft
I don't feel like
phase.
you need to ban it, though.
No, I don't feel like you do need to ban it. Yeah, I mean, well, hey, maybe Crossman just likes to play Oriana as well.
Maybe it was a misclick. We don't really know. Maybe they're trying to smell something. But regardless, we're seeing the first pick over to MNM, and I feel like the big options are the Zyra Khan bot lane or the Lucian. I think that's something that I could see Joe putting a priority on, and he's proven me wrong and picked the Rise Up, which means that the ball goes over to Wind and Rain Spark. If Fax wants to secure a strong bot lane, the potential is from now. Yep, Lucian going to be hovered there at least. And there are options still to deal with that Rise in the mid lane. Cassiopeia, obviously something that does well in that matchup.
Yeah, so I think Lucian Brom's just a really solid blind pick bot lane, a little bit like Zyra Khan always has been.
The only difficulty is if you take Lucian Brom here,
they're just going to pick Zyra Khan.
Yeah, and we saw in the Diabolus matchup that was fine. I think the difference was Rakan was banned away when they picked Lucian Brom.
I don't think actually you don't need to pick your support here, because they're not going to ban Brom yet, so you always have the option if that's the case.
Sicilian.
Yeah, the only problem is it means that you would have to pick a third pick if you were going to take the Brom, which we were talking about before. But this is something that we saw come out as a support for Wind and Rain before, was this Zillion. Worked well against things like Nocturne, because if you overcommit, it can turn around. But honestly, it wasn't the most successful pick, but clearly something he's confident on. And then, important note, Hades also has Nidalee as his
Twitter picture, his header. Oh.
It's because he has his pinned tweet as his peak elo, and his background on his profile is Nidalee. So
Nidalee, there we go.
I remember it was the Zillion and it was the Nivea that came through for Wind and Rain against, I believe it was Phelan in the quarterfinals, and it was just very annoying to play against when you try and dive in as an assassin. You just don't really get to be able to do that.
So the bait here is for MNM. The Braum comes out and they end up banning something like the Rakan or something in the second phase, and you actually just end up having a Morgana-based bot lane.
I think they're just going to go with the Zillion support. I feel like that's the vibe I'm getting. It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, they do go for the LeBlanc mid lane. I mean, the Morgana comes out support for Shogun. I don't think that's the best thing to pick in a Zillion, because, I mean, he's still going to be able to...
at least.
He's still going to be able to poke
he'll
you.
shred the shield as well.
And as well, you can't... Black Shield is slow. Like, you have to predict it, because it's instant. But it does give a bit of safety in the bot lane. I mean, there's the alternative. You could put it as the bot carry, but I feel like it's unlikely when you already have so much AP damage.
I feel it's also unlikely with the Nidalee jungle, because you're not going to be hyper farming anything into the mid lane. So we know that from this instance that we're likely going to see, like you said, that Morgana bot lane. And the one thing Morgana struggles with, she struggles against Karma for the same reason that she's probably going to struggle against the Zillion. The Black Shield's great for blocking CC. It's not great at dealing with constant magic damage, especially with the long cooldown. So The one thing it will help, though, is if they do land bindings and actually look to go aggressive in the bot lane, which can be difficult versus a Lucian. They do have that potential to shield their AD carry to allow that damage to go through without getting stopped, or at least preventing an easy turnaround.
I think the difficulty for me is what are you going to pick that... So say you black shield your AD carry and you want him to trade in the Lucian. What can you pick that will win that trade? Because Kai'Sa's been taken out. There's another ban going to come through from Wind and Rain.
Xayah could work.
I feel like Xayah without Rakan is pretty weak in this meta. The only thing that screams to me as being like strong in that matchup would be a Draven, but I don't think that's something Jokerism plays, so I think it's unlikely we'll see it come out.
I mean, we've talked about the potential Caitlyn buff.
True,
yes,
true.
we have talked about the Caitlyn buff.
You're very right.
That's a really good Morgana combo with the because obviously
and actually into Lucian, that is something that would just outrange the Lucian. So that could actually come in. We did see buffs, of course.
And outrange the Zillion bomb
headshot
as well.
damage. Yep.
But it also pairs with
yeah, if you land the binding, you land the trap, you land a Nidalee spear on top of that. Just throw
and then the
everything
Storm Razor as well, like increase for Caitlyn.
We just need the Jokerism special right now. We just need the Jokerism special.
And Varus did also get buffed. Jokerism been tweeting about this.
Where would you play it? Top?
No, they're not playing it. But I'm saying,
I mean, they're just...
It did get buffed, and Jokerism tweeted about it. So that is also something that could come out. It is something that he is confident on himself. Even played it when it wasn't. I remember playing it with me when it wasn't meta at all. But interesting. Now onto him, Caitlyn, Varus, I think are the two that I would expect him to take.
I mean, do you want to play Varus against a Skarner? Do you want to play Varus against a LeBlanc?
I think Xayah's fine as well.
I think you need the AD damage, realistically.
Heimer.
Oh, baby.
That would be fun.
I'm not going to say anything until it gets locked in. I'm going to wait until a lock happens. But yeah, I think I would be leaning towards maybe Xayah. Oh, it's locked. That's the Heimerdinger. They did go for the double AP bot lane bait. This is almost a full AP composition coming out from MNM Gaming.
It is.
It's not even almost. Apart from the Shen who will go Titanic Hydra, this is pretty much full AP.
It seems like they had a lot of directions to go with this draft. I'm not sure this is the best one. They will have lane priority bot lane, but into the late game, they're all AP. That we've just mentioned that point. It seems like they're looking to win off the early game. They want to have shove bot lane. They want to have shove mid lane. They want to have this TP from this ult from the Shen to provide for the rest of the team. So they want to push, and they want to let the Nidalee snowball off that push, because if they don't get ahead early, it's not going to be a fun time.
This feels like it's going to be one of those games where MNM just need to get that priority bot line. Like you said, they need to shove in constantly, put pressure on a Zillion, put pressure on the Lucian, stop them from potentially snowballing. Shove with the Rise, make 4-man roams happen towards bot, maybe even 5-man with the Shen ultimate. No priority is going to be put towards top lane, because Shen's going to lose that matchup regardless of how much work you put in there. So this feels like it's going to be all around setting up bot lane tier 1 dives and snowballing off that.
It's an interesting draft coming out of MNM Gaming.
I
mean, we've talked about the fact that not too many of these UK teams have been opting in for the slightly less conventional bot lanes. Really only a couple that have done it so far, and MNM's not been one of them. So to pull it out here in the semi-final clearly shows that they feel confident in this specific full AP composition. I mean, talk me through just real quickly, Heimerdinger and Morgana Ox, what do you expect that lane to look like?
I expect 3 turrets to get put down.
Yep.
And I expect a lot of shoving.
I expect no minion waves to survive more than 2 seconds.
I think the only saving grace is that Zillion can obviously bomb the towers.
Yeah.
Which provides some reprieve, because obviously you can just throw it from a mile away and chunk it down.
I think well-placed Lucian Qs can do a little bit of chunk damage as well. So you might be able to push, and the Lightbringer or Light Slinger, whatever it's called.
Light Slinger, yeah.
It might be able to just, 2-tap the turrets a little bit, but you can't gank that lane. It's just not gankable. Like, you try and go in, even as the Skarner, you're going to get absolutely one-bombed by the combo between. I mean, just imagine this. You have the Morgana ban, you walk straight into the middle of the 3 turrets. Morgana's like, I'm just going to bind you. You're now stuck on the pool, and you're getting hit by like 1,000 Heimerdinger turrets. It's just not a lane you can gank. And like you said, Rise is going to want to shove, and Rise will shove the LeBlanc in. Eventually they're going to want to coordinate bot lane dives, and I think Wind and Rain will be very well aware of that.
I'm a little bit concerned for Igloo. As we said, he's playing Shen. As we said, he likes to carry. Like, it kind of feels like he's been put on tank duty here in a matchup where he's going to clearly suffer. It's not really...
Well, he had to blind pick something, right?
Yeah, I think when you're on blue side, you're always going to give up some aspect of the counter pick, and They really look like they wanted to get some spiciness into their bot lane instead, so I can understand him being put in a difficult position, but...
As long as he doesn't feed the Darius and tries to play as safe as physically possible, he'll probably be okay. Like, his role is not to perform in the top lane. His role is to get post 6 and then have impact across the map.
It's just with a Skarner, against a Skarner as well, like, all that Wind and Rain have to do is watch a Diablos game to know how to play this one
I
out.
mean, you can dive to Shen. Diving a Shen can be risky from time to time, especially because he has the AoE
dodge
zone,
field.
the dodge
thingy.
field, which basically means that you can't land basic attacks, which will stop the Skarner stunning him, which will stop Darius landing on
Applying
stacks.
stacks,
So as long as the taunt as well, you do have to be very aware of that.
Yep.
Shen is not the easiest top laner to dive in the world, and as long as it's good ability management coming out from Igloo, potentially.
It's going to be an interesting one nonetheless. Of course, the winner of this will go on to play Diablos in the grand finals tomorrow for this first scoring stage. For those who are new to the Forge of Champions format, we have 4 qualifying tournaments, and they are split into open stages and scoring stages. The open stage for the second qualifying tournament is going to open on Friday the 6th. So if anyone wants to get involved, then all they have to do is head over to forgechampions.com right now, sign up their team, or if you're a solo player, you can sign up individually and we'll match you with people who are close to your elo. And that's really important, because if you miss out on sign-ups before Friday, then you just can't compete in the next open stage.
But there are 2 more after
There are
that,
2 more.
so you do have the 3rd and 4th open stages that you can look towards. Prize money on the line,
Yep.
EU Masters spot on the line for the highest scoring team, as well as an EU Masters spot for the team that wins the entirety of the Forge of Champions as well. So 2 EU Masters spots up for grabs over the course of this entire tournament. So it is really that path to the top level of League of Legends esports, and like we've said, from Misfits Academy, even some of these players getting picked up for subs and moving into LCS gaming houses. So this is a great place to show your skills if you're an aspiring player. If you're like Challenger, Diamond 1, and you've never had the chance to show off, then this is an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone who's watching the stream is Challenger, at least.
If I know anything from the League of Legends subreddit, it's that everybody that exists is Challenger. So...
Except him.
I'm a Gold 3, Aatrox 1 trick.
I'm a decaying platform.
Oh.
Don't know what I play anymore.
This is a retired UK Championship substitute support.
Champion.
Undefeated.
Well, I was on the roster, just some mistakes were made, but
You won,
thanks-
you won that game,
thanks,
right? So
Leaguepedia.
you won the game that you played, so 100%
True.
record.
true. I have now retired as a sub last split. I did play 1 game, and I won. So, still undefeated. Try and take me on, or don't, because I'm casting now. So, you guys are just staring me down.
And you owe Tom £11. I mean,
Oh god.
Oh, he's had a great night tonight, Orcs. He's owes £11 to his brother, being celebrated as the UK's best support player to ever have existed,
substitute
True.
support player.
and now the UK's best color caster. So you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just talented.
It's time to get into games, gentlemen. I'll leave it to it. It is, of course, Wind and Rain and MNM with Xscoundrel and Ox.
Yes, this is going to be a treat for your ears because I am play-by-play casting this game. Let's get into Orcs, Wind and Rain versus MNM, and I do want to pick your brains because we talked a little bit about how MNM are going to be trying to win this. How do Wind and Rain try and win this? Where are their win conditions going to lie? Is it primarily through Darius, or are we looking somewhere else in the map as well?
I think Darius has a big potential. I think anywhere you get a lane advantage, there's so much more gank pressure coming out from a Skarner. If you get good ganks off anywhere, you can win that lane so hard. If Ryze falls behind against LeBlanc, it will be hell for him. If Shen falls behind the Darius, again, not a fun time. And again, bot lane, like the whole point of the Morgana Heimening it is it works well when it's ahead and it's able to shove. The second you start to fall behind, the second there's all-in potential, you're very, very vulnerable. So, yes, MNM have the advantage in terms of shove on the bottom mid and can sort of snowball that. If they mess up, there's real big chance of Wind and Rain to turn it around.
Well, Shockwave took a pretty poor trade against Crossman there. Crossman even landing a couple of extra basic attacks, Shockwave cancelling his own. So he will have to be careful because that all-in potential onto the Ryze from the LeBlanc is good. Here we go, a little bit of a push. Nice dodge out, misses the binding and those rockets coming through from Jokerism. But the shove is there, Orcs. This is kind of what they're designed to do. A lot of the attention now being placed around Vision around mid lane as Notley heads up, or Nolty heads up towards his top side of the jungle.
Yeah, very early heal came out there from Akatsune. Just, I mean, playing on the safe side. But this is the problem with this lane, is that you have very small windows to go aggressive. And as you can see, pushed in again, and again. and they're trying to deal with the turrets, but not having a fun time.
Good zoning potential from this lane. Like, as soon as Lucian steps up, shorter range AD carry as well, he'll get punished by something. Morgana pull, Morgana binding, some shots on the turrets, and you can already start to see Jokerism just gain a very minor lead here. 2 or 3 CS here or there, which is good for him.
Yeah, it's just a start now, but the main thing is the HP advantage. You see the Biscuits actually coming out from the Heimerdinger, so he's happy to sustain this lane all day and night. That's even assuming he takes any damage, which at the moment isn't looking likely. And right now, Fax doesn't have his HP pot, is going to get pressured in. The one saving grace, though, he does have TP. So even if you do force him out, is going to be able to come back in. And one big thing is that Lucian's build path goes towards lifesteal early, which is great in this lane.
Absolutely going to need that to be able to sustain up. Nidalee now, again, what we always see here is that you do get Scuttle Crab priority when you have a shoving bot lane, especially because they can rotate out and help you. So Nidalee's going to get that now. I believe they either picked it up on top side or picked it up on the bot side, but regardless, they did get that Scuttle Crab early on.
They got both of them, actually.
You actually got both of them. Oh, there you go. They've really gained an advantage across the map here, and that's kind of what you want as Nidalee. You want to start snowballing as early as physically possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely what you need on this pick, but it's sort of testament to MNM's entire comp is that they need to snowball across the board, because if any lane starts to bleed, you can really go heavily in the other direction.
No pun intended with the Darius Shen lane there. And speaking of that lane, Igloo's been doing a really good job defensively, allowing that wave to shove towards him with the turret, actually keeping up nicely in CS as well, even probably with the waves, the way they are stacked, ahead slightly if he hits all that CS as well. So very happy to just have this lane frozen here, trying to avoid Darius as much as possible. Yeah,
and it shows a lot of confidence in himself. Oh, great binding from Shogun there.
There's the Ignite coming out as well. There's the Nidalee just waiting in the back lines. But again, they are just trying to force as much pressure down onto Fax, who's probably going to have to back off here. Like you said, has teleport, so won't get punished too much.
I mean, this is the problem, is that, I mean, it was great binding for Shogun, but the follow-up just really isn't there with the Heimerdinger. But, you know, force him out lane, force him to be in the TP, able to get some extra pressure, which you're never going to complain about.
No, exactly, and we'll see what they end up picking up. Jokerism is going to get double amplifying tome, also sitting with that Doran's ring, so a little bit of that early game damage, just able to shove in a bit more excessively. A small upgrade there for Shogun on his support item as well. Igloo's just going to taunt away there. He knows he has to be careful against Kerberos. Kerberos, by the way, also a very experienced Darius player. I feel like we didn't talk about this.
Yeah.
There were 2 champions that Kerberos used to get banned away from him consistently, even before Darius was meta. Obviously, one of those being Kayle. We meme about that all the time. The other was Darius. He is a very, very accomplished and scary Darius player.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't got a massive advantage yet in this lane, but I think he's just confident, shoving the lane in, and eventually waiting for the 6 where the all-in potential's there. But we're seeing some all-ins mid.
Oh, that's going to force the flash out of Shockwave. And that's what you do have to be careful as a Ryze, and I like the pressure from Skarner coming through, because he knows now that the Ryze flash is gone. It's going to be an easy target for him to rotate to, and if LeBlanc can land that binding, especially post-6 for Skarner, that is going to be a Ryze on a plate every single time.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to need LeBlanc to hit it. I think once an ulti hits 6, you just go in with the flash, ult him, and this is what we're talking about, is there's so much gank potential from a Skarner, and a lot of vulnerability on these MNM lanes if they don't have control. You know, there's a chance here now for the LeBlanc to snowball when they go for a re-gank mid.
Bot lane still shoving in here. Actually, I've got to praise Fax has managed to maintain CS equivalence here to Jokerism on this Heimerdinger. They are obviously getting shoved in, but the wave clear is actually not bad with the Zilean in tow as well.
Yeah, and I think it's actually good, because if they pick the Lucian Braum, they would have a much worse time here. So although on paper the Lucian Zilean is a weaker lane, it's fared a lot better here. And actually haven't taken very much damage at all on the top side. I mean, on the turret. And we are seeing, I mean, this is the issue with playing Morgana into Zilean. The slow is pretty much instant, and then the double bomb, I mean, it actually burns through your black shield in most cases.
Interesting to see from that mid lane now that Ryze has been put on the back foot. Is that going to affect the way he's able to roam with this Nidalee towards the bot side of the map, given that he always has to be a little bit afraid of the LeBlanc all-in now?
Absolutely. I think when your flash is unavailable and you know there's a Skarner dotting about, you really don't want to tango with any brushes that aren't warded. So it's going to play it safe here. Good. Binding. Oh, into the root.
This is big. That's a lot of damage coming down. The heal comes through, but like you said, Orcs, just isn't that burst damage. There isn't that follow-up sustained damage either. at this point in the game, at least for Heimerdinger. So really, if that had been anything else comboed with a Morgana binding like that, that probably would have been a dead Lucian, or at least close to dead, burning some extra summoners. But as it stands, didn't even need to burn Flash.
Yeah, the 280 carries we were talking about, Draven, Caitlyn would have just blown his head off there. I mean, even the Xayah, which you mentioned, would have been able to get a root off that, a lot more sustained damage. I mean, yes, it's great to have this pressure, but I think Shogun's not playing the lane correctly. He's going for great bindings, that's fine, that's really good. But then he's over-committing, and on the back end ends up trading his Flash, just for some extra pressure. So, bit of a mistake there.
However, one lane that is going well, or better, as we expected from MNM, is Igloo again, just allowing Kerberos no qualms in terms of being able to find those trades that Darius would be seeking, especially post-6. There is the binding. The Ignite comes down. I think Fax knows he's dead. Not even going to burn the Flash. The first blood does eventually go off. Those bindings do pay favor. And there we go. Small advantages.
Oh, he didn't get the aggro. Fortunately, he nearly caught it. But yeah, good play from the side of Jokerism. Binding doesn't connect, but then Jokerism just throws the ulted bomb. And bit of a disrespect from Fax. Just tanked it up, had his Flash available. Dash was on cooldown. But I think he figured he wouldn't get punished so hard. Wasn't aware Hades being in the wings, ready to capitalize.
I think he had done so well, dodging pretty much everything in existence previous to that. One of them is eventually going to hit. You know, you can't be 100%. Solid on that all the time, although this is a really nice piece of play by Wind and Rain. They saw the backs of everybody on the bot side of the map from MNM, and they're going to go straight for this Ocean Drake. And
this is actually huge. Ocean Drake, the most impactful early game Drake to pick up, particularly in lanes like this where you're being shoved in. The sustain is going to come in very handy, and we will see the next dragon is an Infernal, so that one's a lot more impactful, but definitely a scaling dragon compared to this early game pickup for Wind and Rain.
So here we see Wind and Rain just trying to find their way back into this bot side of the map.
And
they
do see level 6 available, well, past level 6, the ultimate available on Skarner. So the question is where he's going to make use of that to try and capitalize on some heavy CC, to be honest.
Difficult to stop Shen ulting on the top side of the map as well if you're Kerberos. I don't believe the pull actually stops the ult happening. I can't quite remember.
The pull stops you teleporting, but it won't. Like the shield still comes through.
Yeah, the shield still comes through. We're gonna have a small replay of that kill from earlier. Again, it was just a really nice Jokerism grenade, and you can see it's pretty self-explanatory, really. just the chain CC
I mean,
together.
the binding doesn't even connect. They don't even need it. So,
yeah.
I mean, not the binding, the spear. I mean, the binding didn't connect either, but. Well, Cullen comes out from Fax, but nothing really connecting there. Again, spear not connecting.
Then we're going to go Kerberos taking a bit of damage here. Has to be super careful, but will just flash away. It was a teleport. The Rise ultimate coming through. That's an aggressive Rise ultimate. Skarner actually going to pick one off here. That's Shen. He's very, very low. He does manage to stop himself from going down, though. Interesting position of the Rise ultimate there, but I like the idea behind it.
Yeah, go hammer, go home. I can respect it. It doesn't quite go as they'd planned, and looks like some heavy trading still coming out in the bot lane. I can respect this. Fax wanted to go toe-to-toe with this frustrating bot lane to play against.
And here we go. Again, just right now you can see the bot lane. They're not quite getting the same shove, and actually this is something that you're seeing now with the Mercury treads coming out from Fax. He needs them, especially for the CC reduction, but also going to get the double whammy of actually getting huge effectiveness out of that shielding side as well. And they're actually being able to shove back a bit more readily now. I wonder why that is. Is it because you're seeing the Aether Wisp come out onto the Zillion?
I mean, I feel like they're still pinned, but I think Fax now has to sustain that he can go in for trades. And every time he goes in for a trade, he can kill a turret. And if you kill a turret, it's reducing the push potential. And then you can just sustain back up. You have the Vamp Scepter, you have the Ocean Drake. The chance of getting punished is lower because of the Merc Tread. So you'll finally do this. The issue is if you go for that again here, this is when you can get punished when Hades is there.
Oh, Kasuni has to be super careful. Immediately pops the Zillion ultimate. That will stop him from going down, but that does mean they don't have it for just a small period of time now. And it maybe means we see a bot lane dive setup with Hades sticking around on that bot side of the map.
I mean, it would be a great play to go for. The problem is Shockwave has been forced back, so he isn't able to provide support. And it looks like on the other side of the map, Nolty picked up this Herald, and then trying to pressure the top lane. Just going to throw it down and walk away.
Oh, the LeBlanc appearing in this bot side of the map is going to be very difficult for MNM to deal with. He flashes in, absolutely one bombs onto the Morgana there, but the Shen shield will save Jokerism's life. However, everything that needed to happen from that gank happened. They stopped the bot lane shove, and they get that top lane turret.
That's actually really good as well. Because Shen died, they're now just going to be able to push in the top lane where that Rift Herald was. So they get the tower, they get a kill, and they get out, and they burn the channel as well. So great for Wind and Rain there. And this is what we're talking about. The lane-ins from MNM do fine when they aren't getting ganked or punished. Now that they've been punished, it's starting to look a bit shaky. Yeah,
and you can see more confidence coming out from this bot lane from Wind and Rain as well. Happy to push in. Shen's now had to rotate. This is another gank here. They're going to pick it up, going to force the flash onto the Rise, but he really should go down at the end of the day. Kerberos smells blood, and he's looking for the kill. Rise actually doing a good job, but here comes LeBlanc. That'll be an easy pickup, and Crossman finds his second kill of the game.
Well, Nidalee might be looking here, but
I think risky.
Would be a bit dangerous.
We're going to have a quick look at the replay from the bot side here, and Orcs take it away.
Yeah, so Crossman just flashes, gets the full W damage onto both of the bot lane members, and then Jokerism, good flash away into the next brush, denies vision, and then the channel saves in the auto attacks. But again, this is making the best of a bad situation. Yes, one of your members survived, but you've already lost your support, and you lost that top tower.
So let's reflect now. You did not get the shove onto that bot lane tier 1 with this Heimerdinger Morgana lane. Where does this leave MNM? Where are they right now in this game?
Honestly, in a pretty dire situation. I mean, Lucian's not fully online yet. He's invested a lot into MR, but you can see across the board, the whole of the war understands against a full AP team. So they're just going to keep buying MR items, and once it sort of gets to that mid to late game point, it's going to be very hard to deal with them. That's fine if you really snowball the early game. This isn't happening, and I mean, I feel like as MNM, you need to just find windows to just punish and take towers. I think a big one was the Shen ult and the ability for the Rise to roam, but the Shen ult's just been used. The Rise is getting shoved in. You need to somehow find a window to free up these members and make a play.
Here comes Skarner towards the bot side, but Nidalee is there, so it's not going to be a strict dive onto this bot lane turret. You do also have the partial Sunfire Escape, the Barney Cinder, that's what it's called, isn't it? Barney Cinder, and you've got the tier map for Shen. His wave clear potential is better than it would be usually, and is able to clear waves moderately well, just being able to hold out against this Lucian and Zillion push. And now we find Morgana and Heimerdinger back towards this bot lane with the Luden's Echo completed.
Yeah, I mean, MNM are doing fine in terms of hold now, and they're going to be able to survive for plenty of time against Wind and Rain. There's not too much threat of them taking this bot tower anytime soon. But it's what that means to them. Like, MR's already been stacked on the side of Wind and Rain, and they're going to make plays in the mid lane like this.
This is just going to be Rise getting caught out with no flash. Very unlikely that he makes out alive, and again, Shockwave picked up by Crossman, and it's something that we talked about in the pre-game, that is a very weak lane against the LeBlanc if you do end up burning that flash. And as you can see time and time again, Notley investing his resources there.
Yeah, I think just, for me, the game plan seemed like a bit of a mistake from MNM. I mean, we're talking about this really early, but it just seems a hard situation to sort of bounce back on, because their comp's very, very one-dimensional. And War have seen this, and they're punishing it, and they're now being rewarded with an Infernal Drake.
And Kerberos heading down towards this bot side of the map, as well as the Rise being dead, means this should be an easy Infernal Drake pending no steal, but here comes the teleport. It looks like they want to contest. Oh my word, Shogun goes in, but get absolutely slaughtered. Jokerism has got nothing to do in this situation, and this is going to be MNM just maybe going back, although Kerberos wants more. He's going in.
Taunt.
That's a big taunt by Igloo, but look at the rest of the Wind and Rain roster. They have got great positional advantage in their own side jungle. Kerberos slam dunks one, he slam dunks two, and that is going to be a double kill for the Darius as Fax jumps over the wall to get involved in the action. MNM, it looked like they had that advantage, but turned around by Kerberos, this experienced Darius player.
It just feels like there's no follow-up from the side of MNM. Nidalee doesn't want to jump in, neither does Rise. Heimerdinger can't, so even when they land some good CC like Igloo did there, they just stand there and watch. It feels like they have good ideas. The execution is honestly fine. It's just the composition doesn't facilitate them to really do anything. And yes, they managed to pick up that bot tower off the back of it, but now Wind and Rain have reset, and it looks like they're not only going to punish, but try and take this Infernal as well.
Oh, here we go. Crossman, oh, his damage is just out of this world right now. Look at the flank coming through from the Skarner 2. Shockwave surely will not last very long. Trying to trade one back again. They're trying to use that positional advantage, but there's the Zhonya's, and that's going to be the pickup as well. And Crossman and the rest of the gang take down Jokerism and Shockwave there in that bot side of the map. That was an easy cleanup for them. The damage from Crossman right now is insane as well.
Yeah, and he's now going to recall on 5 kills. I mean, that is not what you want to see. I don't think there's any situation in League of Legends where you want to see the enemy longer being 5-0.
No.
That's like on the top of the list of things that are bad. But yeah, and they also pick up that Infernal Drake. So we've seen a lot of Oceans, a lot of Clouds, Infernals, a lot more impactful.
Look at this, the Ardent Sensor now there for Kitsune. And also you can see a lot of magic resist being invested by some of the key members. You've got a Hex Drinker for the Lucian. He prioritized that over the finishing of his Blade of the Ruined King. Mercury treads for both him and Darius investing early into a Spectre's Cowl. I mean, this is one of the problems when you do run a full AP composition. It makes defensive itemization early very easy.
Yeah, and I think as well, going into later in the game, normally in an AD carry mare, the answer can be to a LeBlanc. When you start to really scale, when she jumps in, you just pump auto attacks into her. Oh wait, we are seeing her play top.
Ooh, this is a play onto Curb, Ross. Here comes the Soul Shackles from the Morgana as well. He's going to get stunned up. Lots of damage coming through. They haven't quite managed to finish him off, though. He's going to regen that health, and he's got the Zillion ultimate. And now I think Shogun is left in no man's land. He's actually just going to get smited into the floor. It's almost going to be a stun there onto the Nidalee as she gets slowed down. But my goodness me, what a turnaround from Wind and Rain.
Yeah, if you don't kill that Darius, he's just going to stack things up, get so much back, and Zillion just doing absolute work there. Something to note. Ardent Sensor, although he doesn't have any shields in his kit, if you speed up an allied champion, Aerie will shield them, and that will apply the Ardent stacks. Oh,
there we go. Very nice. And actually, in the meantime, Fax doing a good job in mid lane, taking the turret. So overall, a fantastic trade for Wind and Rain here, and MNM being left a little bit dry. We're going to take a look at that replay, Orcs.
Oh, so this is on the bot side, and Crossman, it respects the burst. Good instincts to back out instead of just getting brunted, because he knows his team are collapsing, they're going to shut down. Rise starts to pump damage into Skarner, but it isn't enough. Crossman goes in, kills the Heimerdinger. Even Zonya's will pops the stopwatch just so there's no chance of Rise turning around. They're playing it very safe, very clean, because they know that was completely in their control. And I think Crossman hasn't backed in a long time.
He's got a lot of gold. He must be sitting on a lot of gold right now.
Yeah, and I think for me, the item I'd buy is just a straight up Banshees, because it means that you can jump in, and there's no threat if you get CC. The Rise can't even root you just with a straight W. And I think it gives you so much freedom. And as well, the cost efficiency when playing against so many AP champs is huge. Or just go for the Medjay. You've got 10 stacks in your Dark Seal, you can do that too.
There's definitely potential for that. It is going to be working towards probably a full Zonya's here. As you can see, the Seeker's Arm Guard coming out. So I guess it provides a similar thing to the Banshees, just gives you more control over the timing and going in.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, that's one of the things is Banshee's item isn't too strong. It's really great here, but, you know, you have to wait for such a long time for that shield, and it can be knocked off by poke, whereas Zonya's, it's available when you want it, as long as the cooldown allows it.
Like you said, he has got that option for the Medjay as well. You can see them moving in. Lots of control over vision here as well, Orcs. You can see that most of the vision control has been in Wind and Rain's favor. They're now looking to exert their control over that Dragon Pit and also work towards Baron vision control as well.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in the game, it's what you want to start looking for. But it looks like, you know, MNM are contesting them on the top side of the map, but there's a chance Skarner is coming up and might collapse.
Oh, Jokerism took a huge amount of damage there. The Blade of the Ruined King popped as well. Notley once in on this engage. Jokerism forced a flash, but Shogun is going to be the sacrificial lamb, although so it seems. Yes, he will. The dash comes through, a couple of basic attacks from Fax will finish the job. Not good for MNM.
Yeah, I mean, this is a problem. If you're playing this Heimerdinger, you want to be pushing, but you're not in a situation where you can anymore. You end up overextending, and you end up getting punished. So, I mean, this composition for MNM has really fallen offline already.
Here we go. Hades forced to flash, but that's still the damage coming out from Crossman. Huge, huge damage, and he should be able to finish it off as Hades tries to trade back, but alas, it is all in vain. Although did do a decent amount of damage to Crossman. Zillion was in the wings with his ultimate.
Yeah, I mean, there's a decent turnaround, but you now lost your jungler, and it looks like they could even potentially look for the Baron here, but not that confident yet. I think that's one issue with playing against a full AP comp, is that you don't build armor, so not the best at tanking Baron.
And also, a lot of these champions that you can see from MNM are good at just controlling Baron pit areas. I mean, you don't really want to play against the Heimerdinger just constantly throwing rockets in. Morgana binding can be devastating. Spears can be annoying. It is a tough composition to take Baron into it. At any stage of the game,
I think
really.
it goes back to how Diablo started playing after that game 1 loss, in that the only way Wind and Rain really can lose this game is from throwing at Baron. So they're playing respectfully, they know they're ahead, they know they scale well, so they don't need to force too aggressively.
So let's reflect, we're now 22 minutes into the game. If you had to take an analytical eye to this game, do you just feel there's no way back for MNM? I mean, how do they find a way back?
I feel like the only way MNM make it back is from misplays from Wind and Rain. I don't think there's anything that MNM can proactively do that can find a window for them.
And that's not what you want to find. That's not where you want to find yourself as a professional team.
Absolutely not. I mean, their engage is very limited. Their scaling is very limited.
Goodbye, Jokerism.
Yeah, Jokerism just caught out here. It just feels like they don't have the tools to really do anything.
Ooh.
And again, it's in Wind and Rain going too aggressive and getting punished. That is the only way they really get back in this game.
And even Kerberos still having joy against Igloo in this side lane. Not going to find the solo kills, but is constantly shoving that Shen in, making it difficult for him to find a situation to land that ultimate. Jokerism 0-2-2 right now. He has not snowballed that lane, hasn't managed to shove in. Took a very long time for them to get that first tier turret in the bot lane as well. And that is their only turret of this game, considering they really would have wanted to shove in, take top bot lane tier 1, rotate and take the tempo advantage. They have been essentially put right on the back foot. 7,000 gold as well in the lead for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, absolutely. And looks like the next dragon is coming up shortly. I believe, if the overlay is correct, that is an Infernal. Yep. And, I mean, this is the worst case scenario for Wind and Rain.
Kerberos finds an engage onto Shogun. Shogun has to flash across the wall. This is a heavy engage, and Kerberos just providing that zoning potential, making it difficult for MNM to find their ins. Dragon's going to be started, but MNM look like they're in a position to want to contest this. This is a situation that maybe with a good set of chain CC, they could take out some key targets. They're going to land a binding there onto Kerberos. He's taking a little bit of damage, but he's quite tanky.
Nothing.
He's quite
Brushed
tanky.
it off.
Oh, that's a big stun. Oh, and a massive pull. Goodbye, Jokerism. He is gone. Igloo's gone. This is going to be a cleanup. These Molotovs and Marshmallows are just being burnt alive, not only by the Dragon, but by Wind and Rain too. And they're going to get the Infernal Drake to boot. What an engage there. They just pulled 2 key members in, blew them up. And honestly, MNM just don't have a response.
Yeah, huge stun coming out from Akitsune, which landed on the 2 members, and that was what they were waiting for. They punish, they now have a numbers advantage, and they can head over to Baron. This is when they feel safe and comfortable to do it. Thing is, they have a LeBlanc as well. The LeBlanc can just dash over the wall and really threaten the Nidalee so you can't get close. And you can see Crossman posturing, yep, is looking for the Nidalee here. Doesn't manage to connect the chain, but they're now aware of exactly where this Nidalee is. Chance of a steal is getting lower, and oh! Chance of a steal has just dropped out the window.
Jokerism is back. He has teleported in. This is what Heimerdinger can do. You do have to be very aware of that. The turret's are coming down, but the zoning potential of the LeBlanc and the threat of that burst potential is too much for MNM to deal with. Jokerism now caught potentially on the wrong side of this wall. He's so close to going down. A couple of hits, and that will take him out. Fax is going to get shielded up nicely there as well. The Aerie, like you said, doing its job. And MNM, even when they find an AD carry on the front line, don't have the damage to be able to take him out.
Yeah, and we will see a replay here. So this is that fight at the Dragon. You can see Kerberos can just brush off that CC and that damage because of all his MR. And then the double bomb actually came in from a flank from Akitsune. So great play. Double stun comes in. Great follow-up from the rest of Wind and Rain. And from that point, the team fight is very lost, and it's just clean up for Wind and Rain. I mean, the stopwatch is going to stop the second dunk from Kerberos, but not much of a consolation prize.
No, and they're going to get the Infernal Drake to boot. That was a really nice flank, something that we didn't pick up originally on the team fight there. And honestly, it was just Kerberos walking up and saying, goodbye, Jokerism. This has been a tough game for Jokerism. He hasn't really had the laning phase that he would have wanted. Is this a strategy that you feel is a little bit risky for them to pull off? Do you think that if you reflect back on this is MNM trying something new, do you think they genuinely thought that this was something that they could take to Wind and Rain and they'd struggle to deal with it?
I think this is something we saw this originally come out from Vitality in the EU LCS, and I think this has potential to work, but there's a time and a place, and it's like just because you can do this strategy doesn't mean you should. And I think the importance with any sort of fringe strategies like this is understanding why and when they work. And I just think this wasn't a situation. You understood that they were taking the Zilean bot, which I mean honestly just find the Morgana. You picked yourself into a situation where you had full AP. Oh, Crossman actually might be caught out here. Oh,
the Shen ultimate is going to come through, but that is the Zilean ultimate, and the Rise is going very, very low. He'll go down eventually to Ignite and minions, and Fax is now on the warpath. He's going to be forced back, dodges those rockets from the Heimerdinger. But there we go, they're going to get another inhibitor turret, and that is a very aggressive move by Kerberos on the sidelines. Here comes the Skarner, he's going to get a pull in, and surely now this is going to be Wind and Rain closing the game.
Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it for the whole game. MNM, they drafted what I would say is incorrectly, given the composition that Wind and Rain picked up. They've been punished, and this is as one-sided as it really gets. I don't think we've seen a one-sided game. I mean, the win any between Misfits and Diabolus.
No, and this is going to be Wind and Rain cleaning MNM, sweeping them to the side. No one likes Marshmallows on their team, as they have completely annihilated them in the first of this semi-final. and actually looking similar to how we saw those matchups between Diabolus and Misfits. I think realistically it's partly maybe due to the strategy they enacted. It is quite difficult to pull off, and like Orc said, a time and a place. But when you have those kind of awkward strategies thrown at you, I've got to say, Wind and Rain reacted really well.
Yeah, they just played their game. They understand the limitations of what MNM were trying to do. If they didn't just give up all the pressure bot lane and they just held their own, they were fine. And you saw that. They just sort of endured it for a little bit and then got to the point where they could fight them.
It was just it didn't go anywhere. Like it's really hard to break down that game any further because MNM clearly wanted to try something. They wanted to make this Heimerdinger bot work, and you know, as every replay we see coming through, it just didn't happen. This was the one time when MNM made it. Hades doesn't even land the spear, and that was a common story for Hades, unfortunately. Almost every gank that came out of Hades was a spear blocked, a spear missed, no impact. Thankfully, in that scenario, it didn't matter. But if Hades wasn't having the impact on Nilly that you need to actually get this composition snowballing so that it actually has a chance in living hell of succeeding, then that's just bad news. And then from that point onwards, Wind and Rain just shut down anything that MNM wanted to try.
I feel like we've seen this Nilly come out twice, and it just has very little impact both times. I think if you're going to go for a farm and jungler, there's much better options.
Honestly, I feel like the problem overall with what MNM brought to the table is that they had a win condition that if they didn't execute on by 10 minutes, they kind of lost. They kind of lost pretty much the remainder of the game. And honestly, they tried really hard to contest this dragon. Kerberos was obviously getting free farm in the top lanes, and he was getting pretty strong. And honestly, there was no lanes that did well for MNM.
Plus Kerberos has that new cool skin, so that's
exactly.
Look at the cool, the little wolf over his head.
I mean, it's a good point that you point out that if MNM hadn't won the game by 10 minutes, or at least had a significant gold lead, then it was very difficult for them to come back. At the 11-minute mark, it was MNM trying to get that. They were pushing bot as a 3. They just moved Akasuni from the lane by almost killing them. And it was like, okay, maybe we get the first tower brick. No, it's the Rift Herald's been taken in the top side. Crossman's roaming down to the bot as LeBlanc. He hasn't quite got snowballed yet, but let's start that up with a beautiful double bomb. It just almost annihilated 2 of the MNM squad immediately. And then, of course, the Rift Herald gets popped down in the top lane. So first brick goes over to Wind and Rain. MNM shot down even further because LeBlanc snowballed and goals going into the entire game. There was just nothing at that point that MNM could do, and then it just kept scaling and scaling and scaling. And every team fight that we see here, we see MNM attempting to fight over objectives. You know, of course you have to fight over the Infernal Drakes. Yes, you have a lot of AoE, but there was literally zilch damage coming out of them. That was
desperation contests for me at that point for MNM. Like, MNM needed the tempo in this game. They needed the tempo very early on. It needed to be centered around that bot lane Heimerdinger Morgana pick. The Zillion was a nice pick into that situation because it provided a bit of extra wave clear, which meant it was difficult to get that chip damage onto the first tower. And I've got to be completely honest, Wind and Rain played beautifully around Kerberos on the top side of the map because that gave them the ability to nullify any bot lane tempo by claiming at top, using the Rift Herald to generate that first blood tower.
I feel like if you take MNM's composition and you switch out the Heimerdinger for something like the Caitlyn, which you've just seen buffed on this patch. I mean, yes, Caitlyn's a creative carry, hasn't been doing excellent, but if you think about the concept,
so many times in the bot lane,
you pressure bot lane in the same way, but then you have that scaling advantage. You're not a full AP team, so they're not just going to build MR against you. Caitlyn does scale well in the late game. That's not something that's been knocked away with the changes, and I think that you just leave yourself more open to snowball and have more outs in your composition instead of just being very one-dimensional.
And there was just like so many times, like you kept saying it in the cast, that MNM, if they had literally any other character than Heimerdinger, there would have been kills. Shogun consistently setting up great bindings during the laning phase, great kill pressure, and then overcommitting because what's Heimerdinger going to do about it? Like he just didn't have the kill pressure necessary for MNM to win that. And that's a really big thing, is that MNM's bot lane was winning. And when we talk about this matchup between Fax and Jokerism, you need to beat out Jokerism, and you need to win that bot lane if you want to kind of have a bit of a hope as a UK AD carry. I mean, yes, it's Heimerdinger, yes, it's a bit odd, but potentially in Game 2, when we see MNM ditch that crazy composition and go for something far more conventional, that might be a struggle for Fax.
Maybe, but I think Fax played really well that game. Even though he got caught by that one binding that resulted in his death in the bot lane, he was dodging loads of stuff with his dash. I mean, he was mechanically looked really sound, especially on Lucian. For me, Lucian, I feel like is a priority pick between these two teams because Jokerism loves it and Fax has just shown that he can perform in it really well. I think Lucian is a really big pick.
I feel like MNM clearly went away after their last series against XL and they went, look, they're going to expect a certain play from us. We're going to spice things up. And I feel like they were already good at what they did, and Jokerism's confident in these marksmen. I feel like you didn't need to do this.
Yeah, it was weird, wacky, it failed. Now we go to game 2. We're going to throw it to a quick break and let MNM decide what they want to bring to the table. When we do return, it will be MNM versus Wind and Rain.